Hey everyone, Ron at FRP here. It's not often that I do videos, let alone about my own vehicles, but I figured I'd show this off. This is my 2000 Dakota RT. I just got it back last night, and I figured I'd do just a quick walk around, kind of explaining the backstory behind this vehicle and what we've done to it most recently. So, I bought this truck about 2 years ago from a guy in New Orleans, and basically it was a stock truck. It had like a 3-inch exhaust and a Flowmaster, and that's about it. And the plan originally was that I was going to just put a set of Spintech headers, exhaust, throttle body, maybe an M1 intake, one of my can tunes, and then just drive it, have it just be like a daily driver. And one thing led to another, and here we are. So what ended up happening was we put all those bolt-ons on, I tuned it, and then shortly thereafter the transmission went out. Had my friend Gilbert Blair up in Austin build me a built 46RE with a converter. Works really nice. Thanks, Gilbert. And then from there, we decided to do a D1 SC Procharger. You'll see that the Procharger is no longer there because I got rid of it. So, long story short, the Procharger was nice. We saw about a 100-wheel increase on 8 pounds. However, it was constantly slipping the belt, and it was a big headache, so I got rid of it. So what we ended up doing was a custom one-off front mount supercharger. This is a BorgWarner S475 turbo, and for these trucks, there's no real off-the-shelf kit, and definitely not one that supports a T6 turbo. So I had OCD Customs in Santa Fe, Texas, build me a kit. So we started off with a set of JBA style short tube headers. It's kind of hard to see on the passenger side there. And then from there, they knocked off the flanges, put some V-bends on them, and fabbed up a hot side for me. And then from there, we did a mandrel bent 304 stainless. It's kind of hard to see here because of the wrap and the coating, but it's all 304 stainless, 4-inch exhaust, wraps all the way around the AC, the frame, and then it dumps out just before the axle under the bed. So there was a couple things that we had to do specific to this turbo setup that is a little bit different than most. The biggest change is, I would say, the power steering system. We had to completely redo the power steering. I have the factory power steering right here. It's pretty heavy. This power steering, the factory power steering pump, is kind of large and kind of not for any particular reason. And when we went to go install these manifolds that have been modified, there was just no room for the factory power steering. So we ended up getting an AGR/Steerco Type 2 style pump. This is actually a Gen 2 Viper pulley. Just a parts store. It's not OEM or aftermarket or anything like that. It's just a generic O'Reilly's brand power steering pulley for like a 97 through 01 Viper, and we put that all together. That's a billet power steering bracket for a ZJ Jeep Grand Cherokee power steering pump, and just required just a little bit of modification, nothing crazy. And then as far as like the hoses, we had to kind of get a custom line and some fittings and a JK Wrangler power steering pump and a suction hose, and that's the gist of that. What else? We had to pretty much cut the entire fender well out to make this fit. Again, this is a BorgWarner S475 T6 flange turbo, 132 exhaust housing, very large turbo. This turbo, I can't speak for the rest of the truck, but this turbo should support about 850 wheel or so. There was really no other good place to put it without re-engineering the whole truck, so we put it right here. We had some space issues with the PCM, and also trying to keep it from getting too hot. So you made this sheet metal heat shroud with DEI reflective gold tape on it. It looks a little cheesy to some, but it actually does a really good job keeping the heat away from the PCM. Without a doubt, this PCM would have issues with the heat of the turbo right here if we didn't have this heat shield and also this turbo blanket. I do not recall what brand turbo blanket it is, but it is name brand. It is made in the USA. It's not China, and it does a really good job. Just comparing the heat shield, the turbo blanket, to this over here, it's about a 300 or so degree difference. So really makes a big difference. Everything's coated in VHT flame proof, and then DEI. I think I used lava wrap on the exhaust. Either way, it's header wrap from DEI. Some of this stuff is leftovers from the Supercharger install from last year. We reused this extreme velocity air hat. We also reused most of the charge piping. The charge piping was made by David at ET Motorsports. Thanks, David. We did have to modify it a little bit on the passenger side when going from blower to turbo. The intercooler was also a leftover. This is a Mishimoto brand 24x12x3 intercooler. We also reused the Steven Zeal fan shroud. Thank you, Steven, for making a badass fan shroud. This thing works awesome. If you want an electric fan, you want to get rid of the factory clutch fan setup, this is the way to do it. It uses a Spall fan, and I've previously measured the temperature differential from one side to the other, and it works out to be about a 90-degree difference. So the shroud clearly works. I did not want to relocate the battery, so we made a custom battery tie down. This is a Deca brand battery. You'll notice that it's only 400 cold cranking amps, so if you live in the cold, live up north, probably not the best battery for you. I live in Texas, so this should work out okay for now. We'll see how it goes. If this doesn't work out, then I'll spend the money on a Braille battery or an Odyssey or something similar. I think that covers just about everything. Other little stuff, we had to do an SRT4 map sensor. We had to do ID 1000 injectors. I do plan on running E85 once I put a fuel system in this. But yeah, so hope you like what you see here. I'll be posting up dyno videos in the weeks to come. Please follow my channel, Flying Ryan Performance. Like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks.